Hermeticism, based on the teachings attributed to the ancient figure of Hermes Trismegistus, is one of the most influential, though hidden and mysterious, Western esoteric paths. Hermeticism originated in Egypt in the 1st century AD. At that time, Egypt was part of a vast Mediterranean free trade zone created by the Roman Empire, mixing peoples, cultures, and religions. This era, much like our own, saw the decline of traditional civic religion and a search for more personal spiritual experience. This trend gave rise to the mixed religions of Eleusis, Isis, and Christianity. In Egypt, the blending of Greek and native Egyptian religion gave rise to the figure of Hermes Trismegistus, Greek for thrice great Hermes. Hermes Trismegistus embodied the attributes of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. Hermes, known to the Romans as Mercury, was the god of shepherds and land travel, merchants, literature, athletics, and thieves. Hermes was cunning and shrewd, the messenger of the gods, and associated with medicine and with dreams and magic. Thoth was an Egyptian moon god, and thus by analogy to the moon's phases, the god of time and seasons. Thoth was also the inventor of writing, the god of scribes, and like the Greek god Hermes, Thoth was associated with magic, medicine, and esoteric knowledge. Hermes Trismegistus therefore became the premier god of esoteric wisdom, the lawgiver, establisher of the temple cults and ritual, and the god of the arts and sciences. Moreover, he had a dual role, not only as a god, but as a human sage. This sage purportedly had lived in great antiquity, and had received revelations, and discovered hidden knowledge and a path to enlightenment. The means for preservation of this knowledge was the Hermetica, the text attributed to the authorship of Hermes Trismegistus. The Hermetic texts available today appear to date from the 1st to 3rd centuries AD, and are likely somewhat older in origin. In antiquity into the Renaissance, it was believed that Hermes Trismegistus was older than Moses. When it was discovered in the 17th century that the text dated to around the birth of Christ, this was felt by many to be not only debunking of their ancient origin, but also of their content. But the Hermeticists of antiquity and of the Renaissance, while they did value the age of the Hermetica, valued more its essential wisdom. The technical Hermetica, consisting of hundreds of texts of astrology, alchemy, and magic attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, and the more philosophical Corpus Hermeticum, circulated throughout the Roman Empire, where they had a wide influence on the practice of the Hermetic arts, upon philosophy, particularly Neoplatonism, and upon the theurgy, that is, the divine magic epitomized by the late classical sage Iamblichus. As the Western Roman Empire fell in the 5th and 6th centuries AD, much of its learning was preserved by the East Roman Empire of Byzantium. From Byzantium, this knowledge spread to the new Islamic civilization in the 7th century AD. A key factor in the spread of knowledge of classical Greek and Roman civilization were the Sabians of Haran, a city in modern-day southern Turkey. The Sabians were Hermetic and are sometimes referred to as star worshippers, but more accurately, they viewed the planets and stars as a link to the divine. The Sabians were renowned as scientists, astronomers, astrologers, magicians, and makers of precision instruments. The most famous Sabian was the 9th century sage Thabit ibn Qurra, who assisted in translating many Greek texts at the fabled House of Wisdom of the Abbasid Caliphs in Baghdad, as well as writing original works. He was the author of Imaginibus, an important text on astrological talismans, which has recently been translated from Latin into English. Sabian influence is also discernible in Picatrix, the most famous of texts of astrological magic. Thus, the Hermetic arts and philosophy passed into the Islamic civilization of the Middle East and exerted a profound influence upon it. In the 12th century, Europe had recovered sufficiently from the Dark Ages to begin receiving the classical arts and sciences from the advanced Islamic civilization. This transfer of knowledge included works of magic, astrology, and alchemy, which began to be translated from Arabic to Latin, mostly in Sicily and Spain. The study and practice of the Hermetic arts also began its revival in Europe as the Hermetic texts became available. A key event in the mid-15th century was the translation by Marsilio Ficino of the philosophical Corpus Hermeticum at the request of Cosimo de' Medici of Florence. Thus, a renewed interest in the Hermetic arts was supplied with a firm philosophical basis. Magic astrology in the West once again became more than simply a means to attain earthly power and advancement. They also became again a path for ascent to the divine. The rebirth of Hermetic thought and the Hermetic arts was the hidden esoteric inspiration of Renaissance culture. Botticelli, for example, is said to have consulted Ficino before painting his famous Primavera, the allegory of spring. But during the so-called Enlightenment of the 18th century, materialism became the predominant philosophy in Hermeticism, because of its reliance on spiritual causality, fell almost completely into disuse. The 19th century witnessed a resurgence in Western esotericism, and with it, a renewed interest in Hermeticism. For example, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a key modern magical order, was founded in 1888. However, by this point, much Hermetic knowledge had been lost. Only very recently, in the past 20 years, have sufficient sources become available and scholarship completed in order to raise our knowledge back to that of Renaissance predecessors. Now, at the dawn of the 21st century, we are currently experiencing a new Hermetic Renaissance and a rebirth of the Hermetic arts of astrology, alchemy, and magic.